Look at me, look at me, look at me. This is Dr. Winters, and I want to talk about homeopathics and how they work in autoimmunity. And so this is a video meant for patients to help understand why we use them with their autoimmune condition. It's not meant for doctors, so I'm not going to be technically correct on several things. But I want to communicate the idea. And look at me, look at me is how homeopathics work to wake up the immune system and to allow the immune system to target. So when we're working with autoimmunity, there's always an antigen or a bad guy that's triggering the autoimmunity. Now, one of the ways that we find that now, so that we don't have to do $10,000 worth of tests on people and try this and try that over several years, is we let the brain tell us. And that's through a system we have called QNRT, Quantum Neuro Reset Therapy. So we look for clues in how the brain is behaving, and then if it's not behaving like we expect it to, then we stimulate the brain left and right with a visual stimulus, and then we look for immune points that show up after that, and those represent different toxins, different infections, different environmental stressors, different foods, and heavy metals. And these reflex points have been extremely accurate based on patients' prior labs and other clinical findings as far as what's really going on for them. And I explain that more in other videos, but let me just tell you, it's been extremely accurate when we pick up a certain point, and then we'll get a lab that matches that, and it's very, very helpful for us. But it saves us running tons and tons of lab testing, and then we still might not know which is the priority. So the QNRT process helps us know the priority. But then when we reset the brain to the traumas that we've experienced that don't let our immune system adequately deal with the infection or the toxin, then we also have to pull that infection or toxin away. So it's kind of like two magnets together, and you shake one, you can't get it away from the other. Shake the other, you can't get away from the other. But when you pull them both apart at the same time, things work magically well. And that's the way this works. So once we identify the priority, the window into the brain, and I could refer you to my video called Autoimmunity Care is Like Bowling, where we talk about you have to hit the head pin. So once we find out what the head pin is for you, how are we going to keep your immune system targeted to that and keep your brain targeted to that, so they're both targeted in the same direction? And the best way that we found is through homeopathic series therapy. And so series therapy is homeopathic formulas that come in a box of 10 vials. And we take them typically one vial every 3 days, and I'll explain why that's important in a moment. So this helps our immune system get on board with dealing with the pathogens. So bugs are smart. Bugs have strategies to outsmart our immune system. Take different Lyme or tick-borne infections. They're really good at outsmarting the immune system. In fact, they can cause the immune system to not make antibodies to the Borrelia or the Lyme infection. And that's one of the ways that it outsmarts the immune system. It has ways of hiding in the cells, and it has ways of hiding in biofilms, which are other bacteria that can cover it up. And so whether we're dealing with bacteria like in a Lyme infection, or we're dealing with viruses or other things, these bugs have ways to outsmart our immune system, and so we have to do something often to help our immune system kill the pathogen, because we really want the immune system to kill the pathogens itself if possible. Take like a situation where a person might do long-term antibiotics. Well, antibiotics are not discriminate. They're going to kill good and bad. They're going to kill lots of things over a period of months that maybe we don't want all the collateral damage. And so oftentimes we're using DesBio series therapy, and we've seen some amazing results with people using series therapy. And one person who had Hashimoto's disease, low thyroid from autoimmune point, and then spun up to Graves' disease and hyperthyroid. Well, when we identified, and you'll see a testimonial video on this, when we identified Epstein-Barr as the culprit, Epstein-Barr virus, then we got the person on series therapy. And after going through series therapy and doing some resets on the brain so that everything was working in the same manner to deal with the Epstein-Barr, now they're well over a year with no thyroid medication and totally normal thyroid labs, and which is really unheard of. So, but that's how well this can work. So some of the concepts related to series therapy are, one, it's when we take a homeopathic is working not on a chemical level, it's working on a electrical level. So I didn't grab my keys before I did this video, and I'm not going to stand up to get them, but if I were to go out in the parking lot, I'm not going to take the key out physically and go into my door and open the car door. That's equivalent to chemical signaling. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk out, and as I get somewhat close to my car, or at least in visual range, I'm going to click the remote. There's going to be a signal, electronic signal, set from the transmitter in my hand to the receiver in the car, and when those signals match, my car door is going to open. Even though there may be 10 other cars in the parking lot, mine's going to open and nobody else, because there's a specific frequency sent and a specific frequency received. So know that homeopathics don't work like you're opening your car door with a lock and key system. They don't work chemically, which is another advantage because they're not going to react with any other medications that you may need to be on. They're going to work electrically. So electrical signaling, it happens all throughout the world, and it happens in our bodies as well. So the homeopathics work by electrical signaling. Next, they source these things. For example, Borrelia, a tick-borne infection, they source it with inactive Borrelia DNA from actual ticks to make these homeopathics. But the homeopathics are diluted so far, just like if you were allergic to onions, they might dilute onions hundreds of times and then give you little doses of that to help you not be allergic to onions anymore. Well, that's kind of how this works. So that original Borrelia DNA is going to be diluted so many times that you just have the electrical signature there. So it's not like you're taking ingredients of a tick in your formula. But you've got the electrical signature there, and each vial in here is a different strength. And so you've given the body a signal that says, hey, immune system, here I am, pay attention to me, make antibodies to me, activate the T cells, activate the natural killer cells, and get rid of me, here I am. And then the body's going to make antibodies to that. And in the case of Borrelia, it might try to outsmart the antibodies, but guess what? 3 days later, in a pulsing sequence, you're going to take another vial of a different strength. So this time I might be saying, hey, here I am, take care of me, but this time I've got a red hat on. For example, I'm just using that as an analogy. But it's a different signal, it's a different message, it's a different wake-up call. And so the immune system is again going to make antibodies, activate the T cells, the natural killer cells, and do some more work. And then when the bugs try to adapt, we've got 3 days later a new message coming up here. So now I'm saying, here I am, and I've got a red cap on and a yellow vest, and I'm saying, come get me, come get me. And I'm doing that 10 steps up throughout the month, so every 3 days. So one on the typical pattern is one series kit will last 30 days. So I'm doing that 10 steps up, and then I'll need another series kit, and these vials are all numbered, and I'll start with number 10 and I'll go back down. And so as we go up in strength and then we go back down in strength, it gives the immune system all those different signals and all those different wake-up calls and all those different changes so the bugs can't outsmart our immune system, and our immune system can be full force, full on, especially when we're doing the QNRT resets and we've got the brain working in the same direction and not inhibiting the immune system by all the stresses that we have that fire from the emotional processing centers through the hypothalamus or coordinating center in the brain and into the immune system. So that's not being all funked up. We've got that all ready to go, and then we're getting the immune system activated in a specific targeted manner to deal with this virus or this infection. Now, once a person goes through 2 months of series therapy, many people are straightened out if we're using the QNRT process with them as well. If we're not using the QNRT process for some reason, and you might not be if you're with a practitioner that doesn't use that, and then oftentimes you might need follow-up vials, follow-up series. This happens to be one that we have here for Bartonella. There's follow-up series in a 1M strength and a 10M strength, and that just has to do with the strength. We're not going to get into that level of detail here at the moment, but this is for a Bartonella infection, a follow-up series. And so these series work amazingly well in helping us clear these antigens or these bad guys. And I want to just cover some of the series vials that DesBio has. And I'm just going to name them off: Anaplasma, Babesia, another tick-borne infection; Bartonella, a tick-borne infection; Borrelia, or a combination of Borrelia, Babesia; Brucella, another infection; Candida albicans; Chlamydia; Clostridium difficile or C. diff; Coxsackie virus; cytomegalovirus, that's one of the viruses that can cause monotype symptoms; Mycoplasma; Nanobacterium; Peptostrep; Rocky Mountain spotted fever; Streptococcus; Toxoplasma gondii, a parasite. So these are some of the series that DesBio has, and I missed a whole section of them. Cytomegalovirus, Epstein-Barr virus, Giardia, which is a parasite; H. pylori, bacterial infection in the stomach; hepatitis; herpes simplex; herpes zoster, the virus that related to shingles; HHV6, another type of herpes virus; human papillovirus, human parvovirus, and mycoplasma. These are all the different infections that DesBio has series therapy for, and different things that we can help people with. But again, we're going to let the brain find out what's the priority, and that's part of the magic of this too, so that people don't have to be on several different series kits throughout several different years. And so I just want to share with you a little about series therapy and give you the big idea of it. And we find it very powerful in helping our autoimmune patients be healthier and function better. I'm Dr. Michael Winters, Winters Wellness Chiropractic Redefined. If you're interested in getting some help, you can contact our office 270-554-2141. You can interact with us on our Facebook page, Winters Wellness Center on Facebook. Then you can click groups on that page, click the groups section, and then you'll find a group, Drugless Support for Autoimmunity. That's where many people that are looking for our autoimmune information, that's where it is, and where we interact and post a lot of information regularly. So you can look there. Be sure and subscribe to us here on YouTube. We've got a whole playlist of different autoimmune videos and a number of autoimmune testimonials, and because that's a big part of our practice. So you can look for that. You can interact with us in those ways. I look forward to helping you be your best and be as healthy as possible. I'm Dr. Michael Winters, Winters Wellness Chiropractic Redefined.